Above 2919 East Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show, coming to you live on Power Talk 1210. You can stream all of our live shows by going to powertalk1210.com. We are fully extraterrestrial radio, and so glad that you could be part of the program today. Without further ado, I want to bring in an icon of gospel rock, and a guy who has seen it all, ups and downs, overcoming adversity. And now he stands with his son on the stage this Saturday night to perform. He just had a birthday. Lester Chambers, welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Well, thank you, Jake, and what a pleasure it is to be speaking with you the day after my birthday.
happy birthday, Lester, and many good wishes to you.
Well, thank you, sir.
You know, I wanted you to. Your story is compelling on so many levels, but could you talk about a sanctified church that you attended with your family when you were younger?
Well, it was a Baptist church, Greater Mount Zion Baptist Church.
Was it in the? I mean, you worked for a sharecropper. Is that right?
Right.
And you was the church somewhere near that property? I mean, what? And I guess.
Oh, I thought you meant the church in Los Angeles.
No, I mean the sanctify. I mean, 'cause I guess what I'm getting at is that I've talked to so many cats, that grew up in the sanctified church, and the thing about the church at the time was that there was no traditional trap set. It was sticks, it was tambourines. There might have been a modified trap set, but the rhythms came out of that. That's where the blues came from. And I'm just curious about your first. Yeah, go ahead. Tell me about your experience in the church.
Well, my first experience in the church was Mount Olive Baptist Church in Carthage, Mississippi, where there was no instruments, to be honest with you, just like you said, tambourines and sticks and chimes, triangles. They used triangles to find the tone that we were all singing, and it was just, it was like rock and blues, gospel lyrics, and I grew up with that in my life, and it was what a pleasure.
How were the rhythms? How did it influence you guys? Because everything today, a lot of stuff today is digital music, and most of it is in 4/4 time. And I'm just kind of trying to figure out the jagged rhythms of the holy churches. I mean, even the pastors sometimes had electric guitars, and this is this is what I'm trying to get at, is this sort of, I mean, you guys came up being able to play and sing across the board, all different genres, and I just wanted you to talk about those rhythms and how they were different than just being in 4/4 time.
Well, it started out with the foot movement, people patting the feet, keeping rhythm with the feet, and then the hands come in. And then sometimes people would do a double clap, And these are the things. These are the first rhythms I can remember in my time, that the way the churches did rhythms. Because in the beginning, before pianos were brought to the black churches, there were just vocals and foot stomping and hand clapping.
Absolutely.
So,
to me, it's like invigorating. Also, go ahead.
It's good for the body. It's good for the soul. The more rhythm you put into it. I saw people do what they call shouting in churches.
Absolutely.
And they call it the holy dance. Okay. You go to a club. You go to a nightclub. They call it, he's freaking out. And
you're right. He's tweaking out. Yeah.
Yeah, he's freaking out. But then if you look back into the African rhythms and dances, they did the booty gyrating and the what they call the what do you call it? The whatever it is now. They did all that back there in the African dances.
The booty shaking
And
dances.
yeah,
Yeah.
they did that, and it was big. You know, the whole tribe did it. You know.
Oh, that's what I'm getting at, man.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to go back to this original source, and to me,
Yeah.
I wanted to also talk to you about the power of the drum and what you, if anything, heard about from like Congo Square. You know, the idea that the slaves used drum patterns to communicate, and it was so powerful language that it scared
Yeah.
the living crap out of
Right.
eventually the Louisiana Purchase, we bought it from the French because we were just much more vicious slave owners. But I wanted you to talk about how you how you knew the power of the drum. If you could talk about one of those moments of sort of being in awe of some traditional African drummers.
Well, when I was first brought to Los Angeles, when we first came to Los Angeles, there was a group of people that called themselves beatniks, and that was right up my alley. Okay, because we lived and we respected the law and all that, but we lived outside of it, sort of, kind of, and we had. This is when it first became to my. I was young, 16, 17, and we would go to Venice Beach, California, and participate in, spirits, and then the drum would start playing. So several conga players would just come and set up and start playing, and the whole rhythm, and then all of a sudden you would see the rhythm swaying with the water. And it was just the most incredible thing. So at which point I started beating on things with a stick, like a cowbell or anything I could get. My first drum instrument that I had was they call those big boobs from the Buick. You know, the buck teeth Buick with the big boobs, they say, in the front.
Okay.
And I had I had one of those that I would carry around, and then I learned to play all the rhythms with the conga players that was on the beach, playing at these parties we would have at Venice Beach.
Oh, that is so cool. That is.
And that's where I developed my drum rhythms and cowbell rhythms and all that stuff that I did.
I want to be clear about something.
First,
Yeah, no, I want to be clear though. You were very eloquent before. You're talking about living within the law, but on your own time and space with the beatniks. But the cats that were playing the drums they weren't beatniks, were they?
Yeah, that's what we were called by the society.
And what at the time? Could you put into perspective what that word meant to you when you were called that word?
Free.
Free.
We were free. We roamed the streets, and if one of us had a room, 18 of us lived in it. Okay,
right.
And we were the hippies. We were later known as hippies, which was a better word than beatniks, and it's still recognized. And I tell everybody I'm the first hippie from Mississippi.
Still cooking.
And proud of it.
Well, I'll tell you, man. In reading I love your story. I can't relate to it, but I just find it. I mean, I'd like you to talk sort of in a more philosophical way to younger cats who are, like I'm 38, so I'm talking like my generation and younger, who are more sensitive, less secure with their own individual voice, a lot more confined by society. I venture to say that the beatnik lifestyle is much harder to live now. And
oh God.
And I wanted you to talk about how you overcame adversity You can cite any example you want, and how it made
Mm-hmm.
you stronger as a person.
Well, just being free and knowing, you know, like I didn't ever want to cause any pain or any misery or anything of that nature. Uh, and I lived, if, you know, if there ever came a challenge of that kind, we walked away. Okay, and we kept ourselves, none of us never got contained by the law enforcement because we kept ourselves respectful of that kind of. One man would meet us where we had to go with everything we needed, and there we were. We didn't, you know. We had when there was fuel in the bunch, you know.
Yeah, sure.
And we had guitars, and but you know, I started writing songs like when I was like 15, 16 years old. Like I wrote this song that. Girls, We Love You. I forget the name of the album that it might be on, from the Chambers Brothers. But if you listen to, it was way back in the very early 60s, like 61. And if you hear that song, you'll hear the beginning of Marvin Gaye's career with Can I Get a Witness, the same identical thing that I wrote. And
go ahead.
Go ahead. I just allowed, you know, I thought, what a blessing to know that somebody heard, you know, even listened to what I had did, you know, and the idea and the thought of suing somebody because they wrote a song that sounded like mine never have and never will enter my mind.
Why not?
Because people, how you going to advance?
Right.
You know,
right.
How do you go further?
Right.
You know, how do you allow things to be? You know, you have to live, let love, let go, let God.
Girls We Love You can be found on Chambers Brother album, the West Coast Lovin'.
Right, Girls We Love You.
Girls We Love You.
Okay, West Coast. I knew it was one of those.
I'm gonna have to dig on that for a minute. So can you?
Yeah, play the both of them and listen to Girls We Love You first. And then listen to Can I Get a Witness?
I will. That's going to be fascinating.
Marvin Gaye.
I dig. But I mean, you know, is it? I mean, can you talk about the way you're talking is so? You know, like you talk about how do you move forward? How do you progress? How do you? How do you get enlightened? And I was curious. I mean, I know that you were. And, you know, I talked to Barry Melton a couple weeks ago, and he talked about, you know, you guys are still dear friends, and he talked about the jug band scene. But can you attribute some of your open-mindedness and your enlightenment to psychedelics?
Oh God, well, what do you want to know?
How it changed you philosophically, you know, and how it opened your mind. Because the thing that's amazing is that you guys were really one of the front burner, I mean, gospel rock, Chambers Brothers, but I mean, you're playing with
psychedelic.
You're playing with Bob Weir. You're playing with the Grateful Dead when they were a jug band. You know, like, I mean, you're but I know I've woodshed it behind the mic for 5 years, and I know for a fact that LSD was potent and it was legal. It was legal.
Right.
So I got into, and the way you're talking, so I wanted you to talk about not so much the music, but philosophically how it opened your mind.
Well, made me the person I am today, and the person I've been for the longest time. Free in spirit and want everybody to be happy. And beautiful colors, you know. I'm the butterfly man. It opened my mind to the fact that, you know, people can't be going around changing people's minds, and you know, and telling them what to do, or to do it the way I would do it. And I never had those kind of interruptions with other people. I just thought, you know, whatever you do is cool. It made me just a total cool dude. Are you
think
there?
I'm here? I'm taking
Yeah.
it in. I want you to go
Right.
farther because what I'm trying to. I mean, are you alluding to the fact people are telling other people they're trying to change their minds? Is that happening more?
Yeah.
Is that happening more in contemporary times? Is that what you're alluding to?
Well, it happens in all times,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And a lot of people just sort of go on their own way anyway. But I was free in spirit and totally blessed by Larry, the Leary man. Timothy Leary got me into such a great frame of mind. I was a 3.5-year student at Obeyed, and I got blessed. A lot of people couldn't have done what, couldn't handle one time, but for 3.5 years to say, I'm like this every day, and I'm like this for the rest of my life now.
Well, okay. So wait, let's just.
And
Where did you go to college? Where did you go to school?
Where I go to school all over the world. I've been to every college in every state in the United States.
No. I mean,
no.
You said with Leary, some school. I didn't catch the name.
Timothy Leary.
No, I know, but you said you were at Ojeda. Where were you at the time?
When?
For those 3.5 years, when Leary.
All over the world. I was traveling, performing, and doing whatever I had to do. Had great, just living good and enjoying every moment of it. But you have to, see what people didn't realize, and I didn't tell people, I didn't promote it, but I was born with polycythemia vera, which they consider to be a rare blood disease then that has never been found a cure for, because now they say it's cancer of the blood. So I had that all my life. I suffered with severe headaches continuously. So when I met up with the blessings of Mr. Leary, it relieved all of those things, all of that pain, all of that misery that I lived in, and just blessed me with the ability to live with a mind over matter.
Oh, I love this.
For the rest of my life, it's nothing. I'm sitting here now with 3 broke ribs, out of place hip, and out of place shoulder, and a back vertebrae that's worse than anything you ever want to see. But I deny that, and this is what I learned with the blessings that I received from Timothy Leary. Mind over matter is the greatest thing you could ever incur. Peace of mind.
Just curious. Leary had chemists at all the different places you performed to give you acid.
No, it was like you remember you said it was not illegal then.
Right. So how he would just give you a bushel of it, and you'd go on tour and just be.
Well, he well, no, I didn't see him often like that, But when I came to San Francisco area, we were friends, and he gave me enough at one time to last me for the rest, as long as I needed it, and that's when it was first coming about. I just, took it with me.
I love it. This is so
it's
took it
with me. I didn't tell my brothers. I didn't tell nobody. They just always said you're crazy.
Oh
weird,
man, yeah, you're weird.
Yeah. So I enjoyed life. I'd be on stage just beautifully, and it was great. It's still beautiful. Life is a beautiful thing. People just don't never get enlightened in their minds enough to really let it happen. They always, like I said earlier, people are always trying to change people. Let people be. Let them do. Let them go. So I managed to keep myself alive. Now I've had cancer 3 times, and was doing fine. Then I got assaulted on stage at the Hayward Blues Festival, and I tell you, this arthritis that has come from that is the worst thing a body could encounter. Is the fact that you're never going to get rid of bone pain because of arthritis. That's what I'm blessed with. It's mine, and I live with it.
Well, I mean, you're flooring me. You're flooring me. But can I ask you, after that 3.5 year stint with LSD, did the headaches go away?
Yeah.
Unbelievable. So the
headaches went away, and it came clear to me what I had to do to stay alive all those years with the cancer of the blood. And I had to quit eating anything that produced red blood cells, because I found out from a doctor now that about when I was like 15, 16 years old, I had gone and studied. They treated me at the Cedars of Lebanon. And I remembered that this one doctor had said to me, "Today, I want you to eat all the red meat you can and come back tomorrow." And when I did, my blood was just going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And then she said, "Wait a week and only eat white meat and come back." And I had appointments. My mother brought me, bless her soul, she brought me every time. And I came back. And when I came back from eating the white meat, my blood pressure was not good, but it was better, way better. The pressure was gone. The red blood cell built up in an enormous amount of pressure, which caused the headaches. So now, oh God,
That's all right. That's all right. We got the alarm going off here. Go ahead.
You got to go in there too?
No, you go. Keep going.
Oh, okay. Something's up out there. There was a big explosion just a few minutes ago. Anyway.
Wow.
So anyway.
So you overcame the physical pain, but then. Well, I wanted to talk about this for a minute. Can you give an objective analysis of David Rubinson? Did he open a door for you? How did you get your break with Columbia?
Well, we had John Hammond Jr. had come to Los Angeles when he was a teenager doing the hippie days. Now that we couldn't be beatniks anymore. Beatniks were just simply homeless people.
Wow.
In a phrase.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
That's about the difference in beatniks and hippies. Now got jobs, and one or two in the gang had a car to move everybody around.
I dig.
You see, yeah, so I had a car, and I fit that circuit. Anyway, John Hammond Jr. had come to Los Angeles, and the Chambers brothers we were working at the Insomniac in Hermosa Beach on the pier, and it was like a coffee house.
Sure.
And he wandered in there, and we became friends and hung out with him and sort of helped him out a little bit, whatever we could do. We had no idea his father was John Hammond Sr. And when we went to the first Newport Folk Festival, Bob Dylan was there. And we had become friends at some time or another here in Los Angeles. And we were hanging out, and he says we had the opportunity to go on the main stage because one of the artists had gotten a bit ill and couldn't perform. and they gave us his spot. And Bob Dylan and his crew heard us, and Bob invited us to New York, to Columbia Records, to sing on his new album that he was doing, Highway 61 Revisited.
Wow.
So we went to do that, and we did. And somewhere or another, it's in the books, or it's also recorded. So that's when John Hammond Sr. said, "Thank you for looking out for my son," when he was in Los Angeles. And he says, "I'm going to do you guys a favor. I'm going to sign you to a contract to Columbia Records." Well, that was our whole intention, to get with the biggest company there was, although we had some flirts with Walt and a couple other little small labels on the way up, but our intentions as the four brothers were to wind up with the greatest, the biggest, the best there was. But then he died, and Clive Davis took office and didn't have much interest in us. So there we sat.
Yeah, actually,
until we.
I lost. I mean, I'm always learning every day too, and I lost a tremendous amount of respect for Clive after reading about how you guys were treated. But can you talk?
We're still being treated the same way. All these years later, we're probably the only artist on Columbia Records that haven't had a raise in the in the royalty department. We're still getting 3 points.
Yeah, I want to read a letter from Lester Chambers to Courtney Love, dated June 30th, 2000. You say, in 1972, we were dropped from Columbia Records after recording 6 albums with them, and until 1994 did not receive a penny in royalties because we were still paying on our last album, Oh My God, which showed on the books as costing over $60,000 for 5 days in the recording studio. Not only did we not get royalties, even though our hit song Time Has Come Today has been used in over 30 films, Coming Home, Platoon, Casualties of War, and television shows, but Columbia never paid into our pension fund with the AFTRA. We joined AFTRA in 1965 when we were the house band on Shindig, and as of 1994 had only 1 year vested into our pension. I mean, to me, this is just an insulting lawyer speak bunch of garbage. Yeah. And I don't know how, I mean, how did you psychologically, just yourself, how did you, I mean, how do you feel today as opposed to, I mean, you're still mad, but you're still, like you said, you're living life and you're not trying to change people and you're happy and you've gone there. A lot of cats can't let go. So how I mean, can you talk about how you feel today about essentially just being screwed monetarily by a major record label?
Well, it's hard, it's real hard, and it's something you can't forget. You think about it every day, 2 or 3 times a day, but it becomes a flash. And could you see things you want to do or you could have done? And it doesn't make you happy to know you can't. After all, they've made billions of dollars off the Chambers Brothers product. Billions of dollars. And I would think today, if they did even consider a settlement with us of any kind, it would start at like $250 million. That's the figure I have in my head as I see it. And to know these things, and the way I have had to suffer from this, and then to find out that they had took my brother Joe and Willie aside, and because they were easy to get to and talk to, and they took the 2 of them and said, okay, we're going to sign your 2 names to the royalties and to the all the paperwork, so you get all the money, the two of you, and it'll be up to you two to divide and split the other two of the brothers' share of it. And the two brothers that got that blessing decided me and my other brother were fools for trusting them. So if Joe get a check for $100,000, mine was maybe 500 sometimes. They own the copyright and they own all the rights to the music, Joe and Willie, and they don't share with George and me, and it's not easy to talk about sometimes.
I am appalled. I can't believe that.
And and people see me. I'm suffering, man. I'm probably gonna get evicted in the next 3 or 4 days, but I decided to have a great party for myself.
No, and I mean I can't wait to promote this and transcribe some of these quotes and get them out on new media because talk a little bit of, I just wanted you to talk about how you became very close with Yoko Ono, because if I read correctly, you were homeless and she helped you get into a house.
Yes, she helped me get in the house that I'm living in today. People have the misunderstanding about that because people say, so you're living in a house that Yoko bought you. Yoko did not buy the house for me. She helped me financially. She paid my medical bills up to where I could now walk in a doctor's office and get treated because I was real sick. And she paid my medical, and there was enough left to lease a house. So that's how that happened. And I also got help from a few other people. Alice Cooper helped me, Sheryl Crow, and a lot of people came. I'm involved with the organization called Sweet Relief. They have an account for me there where people can make donations in my name. And this I'm just I hate having to be the way I am. I don't like having to ask people to help me because they shouldn't have to. I should be able to say, here, take this, and but I didn't get what was coming, what was due me, But thanks for Timothy Leary and the 3.5 years or so of great highness and awareness that was brought to me through the psychedelic life. I'm able to forgive and move on and know that for the rest of your life, people will always be waiting and over willing to take the advantage of you, regardless to how down you are. As a matter of fact, there are people that prey on you when you are down, like I am, And for instance, I was doing that blues festival, the Haywood Blues Festival, when I got assaulted, right?
Mm-hmm. Was this the Trayvon Martin thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Go ahead. Tell us the story.
And this August will be 3 years now. When I joined the Blues Society, I was told they are a non-profit organization and that they have a food bank for underprivileged musicians. Well, I had never had to ask a need, although I had needed to, but I never did because I still was getting my Social Security, and my son and I were sleeping on the floor in a studio where after the business hours were over, we cleaned the studio and all that stuff, and they would allow us to sleep on the floor in there. That was the extent of my homelessness, but I was still out of a home, I didn't have nowhere to cook, I was just, Anyway, at which point, when I was doing that blues society thing, and got assaulted. It's been this July will be 3 years, and not once have they called me to say, "We're sorry this happened to you," or "Can we bring you a bag of groceries?" Not once. Nobody from that Blues Society. And these things are the things that just, when I say people take the advantage to prey on people,
Mm-hmm.
because I was down and out,
Mm-hmm.
way down and out when I did that blues festival, right? And first of all, he talked me out of my price and said, "Well, that's we'll donate to the society for you and put food in the food bank for the hungry and the homeless." I said, "Okay, great," and I didn't get paid properly, but that's what I meant about how people wait in this business is the most, prey on you business in the world. You never find another business where the richest man in the world is waiting to see the hungriest opportunity of a person in need to take the advantage of this person and just earn millions and millions of dollars, you know? So what I said about coming to Los Angeles from Mississippi and becoming involved with the music business, with the record business, it was another move of slavery. The music business is sharecroppers' arrangement. They get 97%, and the five of us got 3%, and we never got all of that. So that's the sharecropping business that they are in. It's worse than sharecropping because they sell millions and millions and millions and millions of copies of your records to companies overseas and stuff, and then they tell you there's no way to track it.
Right.
Now, when I went to Europe with John Lee Hooker, every house, he was so popular over there. Every house I went to, the first thing I would do would go to the record collection to see what music they had. I found almost in every house a copy of every record the Chambers Brothers had ever recorded, and some that had been bootlegged.
Sure.
You see?
Sure.
Then my wife, Lola Bouillon, at the time when I met her, I married her. She's now Lola Bouillon Chambers, and she went to paralegal school, and we discovered, you would not believe how many record labels Clive Davis has started in foreign countries, and maybe more than half of them, they use Time Has Come Today to open and promote the record label. Okay?
Yeah.
And we haven't gotten paid, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I'd like to try to, Lester, I really want to do part 2 with you down the road, but I want to close on this by you talking about your relationship with your son and this concert.
Yeah.
This concert that's coming up on Saturday. You might be. I mean, again, it seems like you're. I mean, you. I don't know, man. I mean, through it all. I mean, I'm still. My mind is blown that 3.5 year trip with Leary was so expansive for you to get over and let go of so much of this total disparity and unfairness. But with your son, the kind of music you guys make and the kind of statements you're trying to make, and just talk a little bit about the concert that's coming up on Saturday for your birthday.
Well, it's he and I, we always share our birthdays together because I'm the 13th and he's the 27th. Exactly 2 weeks later, right?
Right.
So we've figure either on if his birthday is on a Saturday, it would be. If mine was on a Saturday, it would be. But we figure it's not on a Saturday, it's in the middle, so it's actually our birthday party, and we're asking for a $10 donation, so I'll be able to pay the rent.
I did. Now, no, I did. And I got to tell you, it is, you know, my show, over, you know, I've interviewed over 500 cats, a lot of unsung heroes, a lot of guys that have been kicked around by this sharecropper mentality in the business. Mentality.
It's exactly what it is.
Yeah, and you were very eloquent about it, and I want to keep pushing that consciousness and letting people know about it. And I just want to say it's truly an honor to connect with you, man. And I thank Steve Kaiser for that. And I hope you guys have a ball. I'm down here in Tucson, but let's stay in touch and try to set up a time to do part 2 if you're up for it.
I'm up for it.
All right, baby. Much love to you, man.
Thank you, Jay, and may the blessings and the force forever be with you.
Thank you, sir. You too. Love you. Bye-bye.
Be well.
Be well. Take care.
Right.
This is the Jake Feinberg Show. We'll see you all next week. May the force be with you.
I don't know. I've been playing blues for quite a while. I've been around the world a few times. But I don't understand. I just like to play the blues. It's not all the money that I want. I just like to play the blues. And I like for everybody to get together and all of us play the blues. Let's have a good time. Because blues is where it's at. I'm telling you, I love it. I can't help but play it. So when you wake up in the morning,
you're a gig.
And ain't got no money, or no gig, whatever you call it,